So we start off with the Strog Medical Facilities. This is the part in the game where people that don't follow Quake will go, I recognise this. We start off this entire level on a track where we get gender reassignment surgery against our will, which will make us transition from Marine to a tactical Strog Marine. And despite the fact that we were assigned a Strog designation code of 8462-9B, the Marines will continue to dead name us as Corporal, Kane, and Corporal Kane. When we return to the Hannibal, we also get called Piece of Shit Strog, Freak, and Squib.
Welcome back to the land of the living, Kane.
Alright, to start off, we've got Strog behind us that have and haven't been converted yet. We're just going to leave them behind. Shut up, Anderson, I'm trying to talk. Anyway, so if we go through to here, we don't pick up the weapons, then we can actually see we hold a blaster by default.
Keep up with us, Kane.
Does not look right, but normally
You have to keep up with us, Kane.
You have to pick up guns before you can get a good look. Would you guys shut the fuck up? I'm trying to talk.
Stick with the group, Kane. There's no telling when Strog might show up.
If we no-clip out the map, we can find that where we were spawned in, that looks like our leg, is all through here, and we can have a look through the track, and we can see everything we had gone through. It's a fully rendered area, and there's not really much to talk about around here. There's doors that look like they're usable but aren't. We follow this around, takes us out, so we have to go around to here. And into this room we actually can see one of the Strog just idle right here and does not give a shit about us. So let's blast him. Look at that. So from here, the track we were on was actually on this seat here that we were locked to while we were getting Strogified. That would have just teleported here after the animation was finished. If we get nice and close, we can actually like hop onto it. Can't do anything while you're on it, so there's no point being on it. And we can hop off of it, funnily enough. If we look in the mirror, we can see that we look like absolute fucking shit. But on the plus side, we have 25 more points in health and armor, and we can actually move fast instead of crouch walking speed the whole bloody game. Now we're just going to have a look outside, and then we're going to watch Falcon 5 get shot down.
That was our ticket out of here.
Now we get to watch the part where Anderson goes and gets himself killed while Kane does sweet fuck all about it. Yep, just keep banging on the glass, don't look behind you. And Kane is nowhere to be found in the cutscene, has not moved an inch. Wait for it. Wait for it. Okay, now let's do something about it. Now that Anderson has no chance of being saved, let's go into the room that he was in. If we have a look up here, we can see that it's just a black texture of a wall and we can't actually follow it along. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can do to rescue him. Before we move on, I just want to say that we don't actually find out what happens to Anderson by the end of the game. We never see him, nor do we hear from him or about him again, and although that's common for every other single Marine in the game, excluding Rhino Squad, it particularly doesn't make sense for a Marine in Rhino Squad because that's the main squad of the game. It doesn't fit for the game to not close on that either. There does exist unused dialogue where Voss actually acknowledges the situation.
Kane, Kane, this is Lieutenant Voss. HQ just told me about Anderson. I'm sorry to hear about that. He was one of the best medics I've ever known. But let's focus on getting you to safety. You're gonna have to catch up with the squad, Kane. Meet us at the MedLab storage facility. We'll wait for you there.
But this dialogue was never used. HQ would need to see his med chip reading a flat line to presume that he's dead. And even if there was a flat line, that lack of reading of a life sign could be indicated that it was removed. Now, considering the Strog technology, I would not be surprised if they removed it without killing him, even if it was planted next to his heart. However, no Rhino Squad member that we see in here in the game shares the same fate. For example, we have Sergeant Bidwell, who becomes deceased in the Nexus hub. He dies as a Marine. We have Lieutenant Voss, who becomes strogified and survives the process, but ends up deceased, but by the hand of the protagonist, Kane. Then we have Kane. Now, he is strogified, survives the process, and at the end of the game is still alive. If Anderson was to follow the pattern of being either deceased or captured, then there's several different ways that could turn out. He could escape as a Marine or prisoner, or even be rescued while either of the two. He could become strogified, but without neurocyte activation, and become a failed strogified Marine, and he could either become an ally or get killed. That's out of the protagonist's hands. He could even become part of the Strog infrastructure where you were forced to put him out of his misery, or watch him helplessly and not be able to do anything about it and leave a whole moral dilemma there. He could even also, you could end up roaming through the facilities and find his mutilated corpse on an operating station with a scientist Strog working on him, which is ironically fitting of a fate for a medic to have. This may have been something that the developers planned on touching on in the cancelled Awakening expansion, something that we never got to see release, but that's purely speculation. And at the time of recording, it's about 10 months until this game turns exactly 20 years old. If they follow on the success of Quake 1 and 2's remastered content, where they actually got new content added to the games, then there is always hope that they might give us the same treatment with this game. So we've run through the medical facility looking for our squad mates, and now we're approaching Lieutenant Voss, who's completely fine, but we can see there is a unconscious yet clearly alive Strog right next to him, and he's just standing having a look at it. Now, as we approach Voss, we just watched Anderson get his ass fucked because Kane decided to just stand still. Well, what did we learn from that? Absolutely nothing. Kane can see something's up, but he's just gonna stand there right up until it's too late. Sorry about that, Voss. Oh, that's alright, we can try and save him. Let's go down there and help him. Apparently not. So that's 2 Rhino Squad members in 2 different preventable situations where we've lost them both, all in one level. Despite the complete lack of awareness from a lieutenant and a private first class, as well as a corporal who clearly doesn't give a shit, the level does still look pretty nice from outside. We're up to the construction zone now. We can see that there's a destroyed hover tank, and there's also one of the military trucks that we don't really get a good look at, that we don't get to drive. But what we do get to drive is this really awkward mech, and it controls awful and it feels very lacking in firepower. However, if we wanted to go all the way over through to here, we can't pass through this area without God mode or no clip, basically, because that will kill us. So that forces us to use the mech. But if we completely ignore that, we can go through the level and write our own rules. Now, while we're on foot, we have to fight the harvester without the tank because I didn't want to get on it. But I'm a man of my word, so I'm going to cap this motherfucker with a blaster, but this will take a while, so bear with me. And of course, I killed the bastard with a blaster, but that took me way too long. I also used a cheat to give me double damage, and even then it seemed to only respond to charge blaster shots. Never doing that again, but you don't need a walker or a tank to kill them. A couple more things that are in the level include yet another room with ammo that you don't pick up throughout the level, which is interesting. And you've also got flyers over here that are just stationary, that would have likely been used in the level. We do this the normal way. I don't actually think to do this normally. If I just turn God mode on and force rockets against the harvester instead of just running past, we'll actually get sick of the damage and walk off. At the start of this level, when we walk through the door, we can see a human get picked up and put on the meat hook. And then the enemy becomes hostile, and we can blast him in just a couple of hits. So what if we try and blow him up really quickly? He'll still get picked up regardless, we cannot save him unfortunately. A quick close-up will also show he resembles a Strog guard. Now, Sasaki is scripted to die at the end of this level, but if I spawn in a Strog early to try and get him killed, it won't work because I won't even register him as a target, so they're just going to stand here and completely ignore him. They would normally just attack me, but I've disabled myself as a target as well, just in case, so they got confused. If I set the timescale to 15 as well, and spam him with rockets, it also won't kill him, so even if they did start attacking him, he likely will just keep on taking it indefinitely. Once again, we've got a few rooms with ammo inside of them. Now, normally when you go through, this is what happens to him. Unfortunately, you cannot save him. That's the implication of what happens to him, but this is actually here when he's still in the other room on the console, so it's up to your imagination. I only just noticed this after I finished recording this entire video, but when Sasaki gets dragged to his death, it's a similar looking but different Marine altogether. Tried everything I can to save him, he just has to die. Maybe he should have taken one of my weapons or come with me instead of being a pussy.
Kane, you are trying my patience. Get on that damn truck now!
Alright, moving on. The start of this level, you can see a bunch of gladiators walking along this area. If we actually no-clip in, we can kill them all. Interact with before we blow up its stomach and kill it. Now, if we do it in the order of 2 and 1, we can actually kill it. As this is usually the second button that we press to kill it, if after doing this one first, I go over here and activate the first one, so reverse order, I can actually bring it back to life.
That door is the exit out, but we can't get through the security scanner.
Yeah, it fried Private Johnson when he tried to go through.
Although the lasers here are supposed to kill humans and they won't pass until it's been deactivated, if I spawn a Marine in, it will not kill them.
His arm was sheared off with a dirty saw blade.
Must have received a massive dosage of steroids to keep him alive through the process.
Welcome back, Governor. May I be the first to say you look like shit.
Son, you've got a lot of strong hardware attached to you. And we don't have the equipment here to remove it.
I will make certain he remains safe. Kane, let us go to the briefing room.
I've got no idea what the fuck is going on, but that's what I get for spawning a grunt.
Okay, we are expected to be issued.
It's a piece of shit straw who on board the Hannibal. I'm careful.
And it kicked me out the fucking game. Me or the grub?
Condor Squad, report to briefing room 4.
Well, the tank fits, but now I'm stuck and I can't get out.
Shit, Kane really does look like a freaking Strogg.
That's enough, Rhodes.
General on deck!
Oh, yeah, Matthew Kane, our wayward Strogg. Can he be trusted?
The doctors have given him a clean bill of health.
Very good. Strauss will need your expertise at the networking tower once we gain control.
Battle stations. A Strogg force is incoming. Flyers and ground troops are confirmed.
Guess they brought it to us. Let's make them regret it. Move out!
The second time visiting the Hannibal was far more linear than the first time, so unfortunately there's not really much to look at beyond spawning Strogg in and watching the game break. If I don't go and board the drop pod, but I instead just no-clip up right here, I can actually see what it looks like from where I exit, and this is what it looks like. You just get a skybox and a weird-looking texture that I would assume represents one of the blast doors.
If anybody on that.
Ignorance is the next location. I would remind you the existence of all humanity rests on your shoulders, but I wouldn't want you to feel any pressure.
And just like that, I've soft locked the game.
Corporal, get on that truck before I throw your sorry ass on it myself.
Nearly done. And here is the outside view of the level. It's actually really detailed for a space that you don't actually get to see when you're playing normally. So this is actually what it looks like. I just placed a bunch of lights there so you can see it a lot easier, but it's actually really dark from outside. So the main map is over there, including where we spawned, but if we come here, this is where the actual pod had initially hit. And if we look closer, we can see all these other pods. The other Marines were on, were all not only unmanned, as they were just models, but they also looked the exact same. And then once they would have collided with here, it would have teleported us and probably stopped the animation of the other pods, and then moved us over there. Once we got here, it would have likely taken us along this part here, and we would have gone through, smacked down through here, gone through here, out through here, and then ended up, well, still going, and then landing right here. So that's all still there to see. Now, because we need to deactivate the security before we can cross over, if we did try and cheat the system and just cross over anyway, we'll find that we well, can't really go anywhere. The doors are locked or they'll lead out the map. And then when you get to here, there's no elevator. You can take the elevator... Well, if there was an elevator, you can take it all the way up here, but it's just going to take you to areas you're not supposed to be in. And if I went to the very top, you do see the very top of the tower is a level, but there's not anything you can do. You can't even deactivate the tower. You can't do anything. It's not programmed in. So, yeah, if we tried to cut corners or make a shortcut, unfortunately, you're shit out of luck. We can even come to here and it's not even properly in. Most of it is in, just not enough to actually do anything with. Now, the Iron Maidens that spawn out of here, even though we're in lockdown in this tower, and there's definitely Iron Maidens that spawn out of here, they won't actually render in at all until they spawn in to come out to hit you. So we're not going to find anything under here. So as we can see, there's no Iron Maiden actually under here. But as soon as I move forward... Now, as we reach the end of the level, once again, no Iron Maidens have spawned in, but they will be coming out of that. So once we go through this door, we can see them emerge from there. Stop. Also, before I leave, it's easier when the TSD's been reactivated, but there's a bunch of weapons here. I think one of each kind of here, and I've already picked up a couple from here unintentionally. Now this next bit's just funny and really stupid. He's a lieutenant. If I walk out here, I can bait two berserkers. And if I hide behind Hullenbeck, one hit. One hit from a berserker, and he's supposed to be a lieutenant. Fucking unbelievable. So after opening the inner hangar door, there's knocking coming from this door. Now, the network guardian is supposed to be underneath here, and he does spawn from underneath here, but there's nothing rendered in yet. And I can light up the entire box here, and you can see it's completely clear. So now that I've opened the hangar doors to let them in, turn around, there's a quick glimpse of the network guardian before the camera completely shits itself. Funnily enough, it's literally only just in this box here. So, when I open this door, if I decide to light this box up, I can quickly go back here, let these people in, and then look at that. If I'm quick about it too, I can open the door, turn around, and I can actually catch a glimpse of him for about a millisecond before he disappears.
Hey, this is Root. Find me, we gotta get moving. Kane, this is Root. What are you doing? Find me so we can get on with our mission.
Give me a second, Jesus Christ. Now if I go under here, and I still have some test lights here, we can see that the Guardian's not under here. But the moment I go through that door, it breaks out. You can still see the light for a second until I get rid of them. And it just disappears into nothing. Excuse me, where the fuck do you think you're going? Loser. How the fuck did he die? That's pathetic. If I try to catch the tram early with Cortez, then this happens.
I apologize, but I cannot talk now. I really am quite busy.
So much like the cutscenes, the camera feed in these levels are also not pre-rendered, meaning this animation and these models that we can see are also somewhere in the level, and I've just got to find it. So if I turn right from here and go straight ahead this way, We can see the scene right here. We've got a Marine that's just standing here giving us this A pose, this unnamed. And we've got 2 other unnamed Marines too, for some reason also have the Rhino Squad insignia, even though we've never seen these Marines in our life. In the tram rail section, because you can't actually leave the tram, you can't actually get to see the full scale of the level, and it's super linear anyway, so there wouldn't be any use to leaving it. But if you did have God mode on after it gets destroyed, you can actually just see every direction and every turn in the level, which will lead you straight to here. This section we normally see facing backwards and on the tram. This is what it looks like when going forward, and some areas are culled out because it renders and unrenders the level depending on where you are in the level. And because I had to wait for the tram to get destroyed before I could no-clip, some textures are missing. From the very bottom of the tower, if we look up, we can fly straight up and get to the very top. As you approach this room, the laser gets cut off by a strog that sends the lift back up, blocking the laser and halting your progress. Let's see if we can kill him quicker and stop him from doing this. Unfortunately, there is no way to stop him from sending that up. What a shame. Oh, bullshit. We're now up to the elevator ride where the network guardian attempts to eliminate us while we're in an extremely vulnerable position. He demonstrates his agility, strength and relentless, intimidating rage right here, and there are several instances throughout these last levels of him grabbing the Marine dropship or flyer and destroying them. But in the actual fight, he's a slow, clumsy dipshit who eats rockets to the face before dropping dead from one single Marine who just happens to be a strog at the same time. He also has this not so similar and also very similar likeness to the Struent processing creature, which makes me think that they might be of the same or similar kind of species or race. You missed. Once the elevator's crashed, if you no-clip into this room and walk through here normally, you'll find that these aren't actually active and no struggles spawn. If you walk through here as well, nothing will spawn in, and then you're just inevitably going to get into a dead end where you can't do anything else. If you also no-clip through this door, you'll find that the area is still fully rendered in, and you've still got like sections that are hidden off with pickups still there. But if you go all the way around here to the elevator, I called it a few minutes ago and it still hasn't arrived, but you can still interact with the health station and run around here. The only thing that stands out on this level is the sheer verticality of it all. Nice. What a pushover. There's a couple of rooms. One of them has all of the ammunition and weapons, including the weapon mods. And there's another room that actually has a lot of decal in it. Nothing uncommon to the rest of the game, but this one stands out for being a particularly large room. As we move deeper into the Nexus, we walk into an elevator that takes us to the lower levels of the facility, and although the Strog DNA is enough to bypass through most areas, the Strog at this point are well aware of our inactive neurosite, and the Macron, when he sees that we're not under his control, proceeds to lock down the facility and get Strog units to kill us. Once again, the camera feed is live and not pre-rendered. That means he is in the level somewhere, so let's go find him. So once we've cleared out this area, we can actually find the Macron down here, and we can actually shoot him and kill him, even though he is completely unresponsive. If you do kill him early, and then go back down the elevator, the game continues on as normal, but now there's nobody there to look at you. In the very last level of the game, we can see we've got one more room with lots of weapons and ammo in it, and also the mods that go onto our guns over the game. After we kill the Macron for the first time, and by the first time I mean the first proper time, and we also destroy the brain, aka the Nexus, we approach the end of the game with the final cutscene.
An admirable job, Corporal. Good job, buddy! Come on back in, Kane. Your work is done.
Alright, where is it? So this is the area where the dropship leaves the planet. We can see it's a fully rendered version of the planet, it's just a lot smaller to imply that it's a further distance away, and we can see the other ship that it boards. Now at first I didn't notice it, but if upon a closer look, we can actually see it's the USS Hannibal itself, which was sort of implied to have been abandoned or destroyed, but no, we can see it actually did survive and is still currently fully operational.
The Macron's dead and the Nexus is destroyed. Not a bad...
Wait, we're not done yet. And just to the right of that, we've got the actual scene in the Hannibal itself. In the actual hangar part, we've got the dropship that returns. And we've also got the walker and the tank, which we can actually go up inside of if we wanted to. I do not recommend doing it, but it is fully boardable. All these doors are locked and don't lead anywhere. And that also means if I was to spawn a bunch of random crap in here, they will show up in the final cutscene as well.
The Macron's dead and the Nexus is destroyed. Not a bad bit of work, Kane.
Kane did an adequate job executing my plan.
Humble to the end, Strauss. Kane's actions have sent the Stroke forces into disarray.
Lieutenant Voss would have been proud of you, buddy. You survived the impossible.
And speaking of that, there is the small matter of the wager I have won.
Yes? Yes, sir. What is it? But, sir, Kane just got back.
Hey, what do you say we go for dinner?
Yes, sir. I'll see to
That all right with you, Kane?
Kane, you have new orders. Kane did an adequate job executing my plan.
Humble to the end, Strauss. Kane's actions have sent the Stroke forces into disarray.
Lieutenant Voss would have been proud of you, buddy. You survived the impossible.
And speaking of that, there is the small matter of the wager I have won.
Yes? Yes, sir. What is it? But, sir, Kane just got back.
Hey, what do you say we go for dinner?
Yes, sir. I'll see to it.
That all right with you, Kane?
Kane, you have new orders.
And that concludes this video. That was every level in Quake 4. I made sure every level had something included, but it did get quite difficult by the end. This took me an insane amount of time to make, And honestly, I don't even want to look at this game for a very long time, but I did learn a lot doing it, and I hope you did too. There's so much to love and even hate a little bit in this game, but I really hope id Software follow up with a sequel. At this point, even a reboot would be nice. But until then, I'll see you later. And before I forget, I just really wanted to thank Sergeant Bidwell. Sorry to keep you waiting. I better get on that truck now.
Hope you're handy with that weapon. We're going to be traveling through some pretty hot zones. Kane, this is Voss. Keep your eyes open.